Are you ready to learn how to have your virtual assistant manage you? If this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lai. I run a virtual assistant company here in the Philippines called 2XU, and I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, when it comes to hiring a virtual assistant or you already have a virtual assistant, one of the questions I get a lot when it comes to having the company that I do have is, what is a virtual assistant in the first place? And to that, I always say that a virtual assistant is essentially, just imagine that you have an office and you have your assistant right outside your door who screens basically the calls, the information that goes through to you. They're the person who manages your time, manages your productivity, manages basically you as the boss, basically as a person who's running everything else in the business. That's basically essentially what a virtual assistant is, of course, the exception of them being fully remote. They might be from a different country, a different part of the world from you, but they're basically acting as the same way of where they become slowly your second brain. Now, a few example tasks of what a virtual assistant can do. First thing is, of course, email and calendar management, which is more of the basics, but I do try to challenge people to think of their assistants that they can do beyond that. With that, I'll give you a few examples of what my assistant does for me. So beyond the email and calendar management, she also helps me when it comes to creating and monitoring projects within my company. So whether I'm creating a project for myself, like a more internal, just me working on my health, or creating a project overall of like improving our client relationship systems, basically, she helps me create and actually then monitor people who are involved in that project. So as a really good example, she has really good relationships with our client success managers, with our VA managers. She has a good relationship with them because she pings them of like, hey, I saw from last week that you were supposed to get this done. Do you have an update that I can share to Leanne, basically? Or working with a marketing team of like asking me like, hey, they really need this quick tidbit from you so they can post it on Twitter. So she helps basically coordinate between different people on the different projects that we have in 2XU. Another example of what my assistant does that virtual assistant usually do is managing social media as you or as the boss. So as again, another perfect example, right now my assistant is going through my LinkedIn and updating and revamping different parts of it. And she sends messages as me when people come in with a message and needs a little bit of response. She helps me on engagement. She sends me posts that she thinks I should respond to, that I should put a little bit of my comments on, or she even comments on things as me from time to time, as she kind of knows and has learned how I respond to things. Beyond that is she, again, works with our marketing team to get posts up on our social media. And before that, before we had a whole marketing team, she also was the one producing a lot of the content that I needed on my different channels on social media. So that's another way that an assistant can help you. Another is, of course, the usual managing the admin tasks. So for us, since 2XU is a little bit of a bigger company now than we were about 2 years ago, we have people who are our bookkeepers, we have people who are managing our clients. So managing the admin tasks for her, what that looks like is just paying these people and making sure that these little things in the company can get done as the monthly, weekly, daily tasks need to get done in 2XU. She handles and monitors them so they can actually get to the finish line and actually can get ticklered off to the next month or the next week that they need to get done. And of course, the biggest part is managing you. That's kind of what this whole video is about, is getting the assistant that you have or that you're about to hire to manage you in the best way possible. So as a really good example of my assistant managing me, we had our whole in-person 2XU Christmas party the other week, and she literally just gave me a pamphlet of like, okay, this is everything that we're doing. Here's the program, here are the games, here's like you hosting, here are little different prices. She took care of everything and managed me, so then I knew how to basically host the whole Christmas party. Other examples is when I'm traveling, she will have a packet of my airline tickets, the hotel, she has it all taken care of. So then I just get to show up, and that's essentially where I want you to get to the point, is you just get to show up to these different things because your assistant is managing you and working with you to get to the goals that you guys have already probably, hopefully discussed. So what are really the steps of how a virtual assistant can manage you? First one is setting those goals, is letting your assistant know what your priorities are and then the moment that they have to change. And this is something that I go through a lot with my assistant, is the moment that something shifts in the business and I'm focused on this, I'm moving her with me, because then she is not left doing tasks or projects or things that doesn't need to get done anymore. She is moving with me as I go through different parts of the business. So setting goals with your EA not only is just giving them the long-term goal of what you see, but also keeping them on track on what your priorities and thoughts are so they can move with you. Next is you do have to go through the process of walking them through your life. Basically your projects and tasks, your contacts, and the events that are important to you in your life. So for me and my assistant, she knows what the projects and tasks that I have to work on, especially for that week. We go through that every single week. She knows who is who in my business and in my life, like who are the people important to me, my family. She knows them. She knows that, of course, our clients and who they are, and even the past clients that she's never met before. She knows those contacts. And of course, again, the important events that I have in my life and also in my business. That way, she has a good, peripheral vision of where things are at in my life and how they affect different things that she might be working on. Now, of course, this did not happen automatically. It wasn't like I opened the door and this is everything now in my life. It did happen slowly, piece by piece. First, I had her just focus, because I was focused on content in my YouTube channel, I just had her focus on my content. Then it was clients, then it was the assistants. So I introduced her to different parts of my life, so then she can start seeing basically the bigger puzzle of where everything is at. When you do this, you're empowering your assistant to be able to know the context of where everything is at, to get to know you a little bit better, so then they can manage you a little bit better as well. Next is then you can have your assistant start creating your Tickler file. So Tickler file is basically what I described earlier of the assistant knows what are the monthly, weekly, daily things that need to get done in the business. So then she can monitor and go through them and actually make sure that they actually get done, even though she's not the one who's doing them or you're not the one doing them. So this way there is a good continuity within the business of what needs to get done at certain times. And then your assistant is able to monitor and update you on where things are at. So you don't have to be the one always looking at, okay, where's this at, where's that? They can just give you updates on where that different parts of your Tickler file is. Now, your Tickler file can also involve birthdays or events that you care about that they need to check on, like sending flowers basically, or gifts basically, or setting that up for you. And basically, again, helping your assistant build that picture of who you are and what your own priorities are. Next is to build that slow access into your life with your assistant. What I mean by this is, again, there's always a little bit of that fear when you're trying to give someone password or access to your accounts, especially when they're overseas. And you have to keep in mind that you don't have to do this all right away. You can do it slowly and your own pace, basically, of what makes sense to you and what to give access to your assistant to. So the main thing here is to make sure that they don't have friction or they don't have to keep bugging you if they need access to different things. So it's a really good example, of course, is, for example, on my LinkedIn account, literally about 2 days ago, my assistant asked me hey, can we change the banner on our LinkedIn accounts? We have the new branding that we have on there. So instead of me doing that, I just gave her access to our LinkedIn account. That way she can make the changes as needed. And of course, for me, I'm keeping in mind that I built that trust and relationship with her, so then it's easy for me to make that decision. So again, it doesn't have to be instant. It can be a slow progress of what she needs and what your needs are and how they align, and making sure that you are creating less friction for your assistant to actually get work done. But it is a process, and just take your time. And finally, to get your assistant to manage you, you have to build trust both ways. What I mean by this is it can't be just that you are trying to have your assistant be someone that you trust. You have to build trust with your assistant where they know that you are someone who's reliable. They know that you are this kind of person, that you're not inconsistent with them, as they are trying to build that relationship and being consistent with you. So this goes with testing them out for different projects or asking them what projects or tasks they want to work on, especially as time goes by. It's also making sure that you start checking in with them, hey, I'm about to do this. What do you think? So that's kind of building trust that, hey, I'm someone that my boss now trusts to do these decisions, to make these. So then I know how to manage him and work with him. So it's going back and forth and again, working on that relationship to get to the point where you're building your assistant's confidence to be able to manage you, to give you feedback, to tell you if you are off the rails, you're not on track anymore, and to, of course, help everyone else around you within your team, within your company, also support you. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below what are the ways that you want an assistant to manage you. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And remember that small steps matters. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!